I want to unpack the latest burst of noise with the usual suspects of Trump, Putin, and Zelensky in this three-way performance that blends diplomacy with threat, frustration with fantasy, and, as ever, with Trump, policy with peak. So on Air Force One, where President Trump returned from Florida and then delivered a series of blistering remarks, visibly enraged with both Putin and Zelensky, declaring that he was, quote, pissed off. He denounced the Russian leader for questioning Zelensky's legitimacy, while also accusing the Ukrainian president of trying to back out of a rare earth minerals deal. This deal, ostensibly designed to grant the US access to Ukraine's critical raw materials, is now in limbo, a casualty of suspicion and shifting trust. If he backs out, he's got big problems, Trump warned ominously. Zelensky, who faces intense pressure domestically and internationally, is reportedly reassessing the deal, wary of ceding economic sovereignty at a time when Ukraine's very political sovereignty is under siege. Yet Trump's ire this time was not directed, not limited to Kyiv. He turned his attention to Moscow with equal vehemence. In response to Putin's suggestion that Ukraine should be placed under a transitional government, a clear swipe at Zelensky's legitimacy, Trump threatened to impose secondary sanctions on countries buying Russian oil. The proposed tariff between 25% and 50%. The consequence, a direct economic strike on China, India, and others unless they fall into line. To quote Trump, if you buy oil from Russia, you can't do business in the United States. And such extraterritorial economic warfare would mark a significant escalation, particularly since it mirrors his strategy with Venezuela. The impact would reverberate across global markets, hitting nations who have, until now, walked the fine line of sanction circumvention. But here is the paradox. Even as Trump lambasts Putin, he reaffirms their very good relationship. He says the anger dissipates quickly if Putin does the right thing. This, of course, is vintage Trump, transactional, emotive, but ambiguous. One moment threatening tariffs that could ignite a global economic backlash, the next flattering the very autocrat he blames for prolonging a war he claims he alone can end. Let's place this in context. Trump has repeatedly promised to end the Ukraine war within months, but peace requires substance, not bluster, and his diplomacy operates in headlines, not frameworks. In his NBC interview, Trump even said he was never going to be in NATO, referring to Zelensky. That alone undermines decades of Western support for Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic ambitions and signals to Russia that its red lines have tacit US endorsement. Now, what of the rare earth deal? Trump's fury seems partly rooted in economic opportunism. As Ukraine resists becoming a vassal state, the US appears to be attaching strings to its support. Military aid, yes, but at the price of long-term access to Ukraine's mineral wealth? This is geopolitics commodified. Zelensky's hesitancy to sign may be less betrayal than realism. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Russia continues to bomb civilian and military targets across Ukraine, Kharkiv, Odessa, Sumy. And yet Trump presents Putin not as the aggressor, but as the deal-maker delayed. I think it was Russia's fault. Note the conditional, I think. Then there'll be tariffs, if I think that. It's a stunning equivocation. And so we return to the fundamental flaw, Trump's worldview. For him, diplomacy is a business transaction. If Zelensky can't deliver on a rare earth contract, he's a bad partner. If Trump makes him look weak, he lashes out, not with strategy, but with spectacle. This approach puts the US on a collision course not only with Russia, but with its own allies and with basic morality. The EU remains united in refusing to lift sanctions unless Russia fully withdraws. Trump, by contrast, seems ready to barter tariffs for personal credit and the art of the deal headlines, regardless of the costs to transatlantic unity. Robert Fox, the veteran journalist and defense editor, aptly warns of the infantilizing of geopolitics. In his recent appearance on Frontline, he notes the puerile language and the tactical incoherence that now marks American foreign policy. And he's right. What should be a strategic response to Russian aggression has become a theatre of grievance, Gulf diplomacy, and reactive tweets. And it seems that the person who's most influenced Trump is the fellow he was playing golf with from Finland, the Finnish president. Trump, it seems, is not simply trying to end the war. He's trying to own its conclusion, to place a Trumpian stamp on history with or without European approval. But this theatrical politics endangers the very alliances that hold the line in Ukraine. His threats of secondary sanctions risk economic retaliation. His dismissive tone towards Zelensky erodes credibility, and his soft-edged criticism of Putin confuses deterrence with indulgence. Trump's latest outburst shows us three things. His policy is volatile, his diplomacy is self-centered, and his grasp of multilateral strategy remains tenuous. Whether this translates into actual tariffs, new diplomacy, or merely another tempest aboard Air Force One remains to be seen. But what is clear is this: the summer ahead will test not only Ukraine's resilience and Russia's ambitions, but America's capacity to lead with clarity, with conviction, and with some sort of coherence. And on that front, I think the jury is still out.